kind of stuck in the middle. She doesn't really know what to add. Myrtle dies. The summary of Chapter 7 is Daisy and Gatsby's affair is revealed. Tom and Gatsby fight over Daisy, and she's kind of stuck in the middle. She doesn't really know what to add. She's not presented as a very strong character. Myrtle dies, and the whole chapter is full of tension, hence the overuse of heat imagery. So there's a repetition of hot and heat imagery from Nick, and this illustrates his nervousness through the tension that's built up and the heat that's simulated. The constant reference to it, along with the paranoia that he's feeling, shows just how nervous he is. The example of this is when the woman drops something and he picks it up to give it to her, and he's really paranoid that everyone is looking at him and judging him. Then Tom, while talking to everyone, says how the sun is getting hotter every year and pretty soon the earth is going to fall into the sun. And this is kind of a metaphor for, it foreshadows all the dramatic... Oh. So yeah, this foreshadows everything building up into a dramatic climax by talking about everything kind of imploding into the sun. Then next we see Daisy talking about her daughter, and her daughter comes into the room and she says, "Stand up now and say how do you do," and this shows how she treats her daughter like a well-trained pet or a prize or a possession, and it illustrates how vacuous she is and the materialistic society of the 20s. Then Myrtle Wilson dies. It says that it says she knelt in the road and mingled her thick dark blood with the dust. And this shows it's a reference to class and how she's punished in the end, and at the end she's kind of blended with the dust, she's become the dirt kind of, and it just illustrates her class and how she's not of value, so she gets punished. Then it goes into really specific detail that her breast was swinging loose like a flap. This is really kind of horrific and vivid of a description, and it illustrates how a kind of moral message of the book and how her promiscuity ultimately led to her destruction, because there's this emphasis on an injury that's quite sexual. Basically, this emphasis on the blood and the dirt and the fact that Myrtle and Gatsby are the only characters that are punished, and they also happen to be the lower class characters, emphasises how the rich got away with a lot and the poorer didn't. Going back to when Nick was on the train, his language is quite hyperbolic. He says that the woman lapsed despairingly into deep heat with a desolate cry, and this is such an exaggerated description. It really illustrates how nervous he is and how he's making everything seem really dramatic. This could tell us something about Nick as a narrator and if he's really trustworthy, as it's such an exaggerated description. Daisy says that Gatsby looks so cool in the heat, and this shows how, in the way that he is contrasting to all the heat, Gatsby is an escape in Daisy's life. Also, lastly, the verb look rather than you are so cool illustrates how even Daisy knows deep down that Gatsby's coolness and his calmness is a facade, and deep down he's kind of a nervous wreck.